Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I am your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Man, I see you over there, big dog. Auburn Live on 3. Today is, for you, it's Friday, December the 6th, 2024. For us, it's Thursday evening, December the 5th. Keep that in mind moving forward with any todays, tomorrows, or yesterdays. Got a fantastic show for you tonight. We're going to take a look back at Auburn's number 7 ranked recruiting class of 2025. And we're going to take a lot of questions from the corner, the Auburn Live message board. We're also going to dish out a couple of how about yous, if you don't mind. And here to do it with me, as always, when they're here 100% of the time when they're here. Mr. Cole Pinkston, Sir Alan Head. How about you, big dogs?
How about you?
How about you, brother? How we doing, man? I mean, that was a 5-hour show the other day.
Did y'all get some good rest Wednesday night?
I actually did.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I was, making sure everything was good. I fell asleep sitting up with my computer.
No.
I had, like 100 E's, because my finger was on the button. I was like, oh God, just okay, we'll be all right.
Good for you.
A little quick nap.
Auburn ended up with 25 signees, 21 of which will be early enrollees. I thought that's a big number. It's a fantastic number. The number 7 ranked class in the country. And listen, folks, when you win 5 games and you finish with the number 7 ranked recruiting class, you're doing something right in recruiting.
I think the stat that jumped out at me was that Auburn was the only team with a losing record inside the top 20 in the high school recruiting rankings. To me, that spoke volumes, right? I mean, that's an accomplishment. And I can understand the angst of the fan base of kind of things being a little bit rocky down the stretch. I get it wholeheartedly.
Sure.
Because losing Tavares Dice.
Sure.
It was still an A to A- class. You filled every need. And realistically, I'm a little bit of a tough grader. I give it an A-. And if you landed a blue chip right tackle, I give you an A. But I felt like offensive line was the one place that you came up a little bit short.
I don't see how you can drop it to a B if you're number 7 in the country. I just can't. It's an A-. I think you're missing that flagship tackle.
Yep.
That you just talked about. I think Brody Schultz, fantastic. As Hugh Freeze called him, the most underranked recruit that we signed. That was his words.
Mm-hmm.
But I was doing, I think, Jocks on Thursday, and we overlooked this, but can you find a better pair of safety signees than Eric Winters and Anquan Fagans?
You can't. And then you think about the corners that you signed. I mean, it was a huge recovery.
Yeah.
A huge recovery at the very end to get a vaunted prospect that they really wanted. They didn't want to lose that kid. So to be able to lock him into your class, you get 2 top 200 cornerbacks, 2 top 200 safeties. Your defensive secondary, that was a solid group.
Elijah Melendez, J.J. Falk at linebacker, Jared Smith at edge, the 4 defensive linemen, Darion Smith, Jordan Crawford, Malik Autry. Shit, I can't ever think of the 4th one. Who was the other one?
Darian Smith, Antonio Coleman.
Thank you. Look at that defensive class.
Yeah. I mean, stacked all the way through. And realistically, I put Jared Smith. I think he's going to be a 5-tech in when it's all said and done. I think J.J. Falk's going to be a buck linebacker, and excuse me.
Me too,
Bro.
You called Blake Bryce the other day.
Yeah, right to his face.
I know.
Did you see me play it off? I was like, Bryce, and you are.
You did better than I did just now, man. But Bryce Diaz, I think he's going to be an underrated player at that will linebacker / money linebacker position in DJ Durkin's defense. So that was one where you saw it, and it's just kind of like, okay, they hit at every spot, every level. You had a replacement player, and that's the way you want to recruit, right? And on the offensive side, you almost did the same thing with the exception of the offensive line. And while I like some of the receivers in this class, I felt like maybe you could have added another playmaker at that position.
I hear you.
So I have a little bit of a different take than y'all. I think I might be a B+ to A-. I'm somewhere right in between that, I think.
Okay.
And so I think maybe the reason people aren't jumping up and down, even though they probably should be, because this is one of the best classes Auburn signed since I've been alive. And it's going the right way. You went from 8 last year to now 7.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good.
You lost more games and moved up in the rankings.
Yeah, exactly. The day that is signing day was not a great day. Like it wasn't a day where you could just jump up and down and be all excited about. But the class was good. It was already good.
Mm-hmm.
You have to secure that, and you lost 3 pieces, 2 that I thought you didn't want to lose for sure.
Yeah.
One that, you wanted him, but not a huge loss in my opinion.
Shamar.
Yeah, it makes 2 of us.
Right. I hear you.
Right. Dice was big. I really, even bigger than Nate Marshall. As much as I love Nate Marshall, you almost can make sense out of that one and go, well, he's from Illinois. That was going to be tough anyway.
Well, the need was different too, right? When you've got Keldrick Falk and Morris Williams at that position, you've also got Jared Smith in the class.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Jared's better than Nate or that they're the same player, but I'm with you. Tavares Dice was a bigger deal.
It was. You still got 4 good signees on the O-line. I think we all like all of those guys. Brody Scholl's got all that potential. Jacoby Ward I feel like nobody's talking about him, and they should be.
Yeah.
Cale Ellis, we all love him. And who am I missing?
Kid from North Carolina.
Ty Buster.
Ty Buster. Yeah.
I'm not as high on Ty Buster, but I can promise you the Auburn staff is. Boy, they love that guy. They love him. But I will give credit to my buddy Big Day 55 on the board. Me and him were talking today. He made a great point. He said, I think our class is great. The one thing, he said, I want to see somebody who puts the ball over the end zone. We need a couple of those, is what he was telling me. And I agree with that. I think you got a couple guys. Alvin Henderson, obviously. Derek Smith is a guy like that. Sam Turner, I think, more of a possession receiver, not this big play guy. That's okay. You need that.
Sure.
But if there's anything you can critique, and I'm being nitpicky here, it's how many guys you got that can put it across the goal line. Obviously Deuce Knight, but playmakers. I just wanted to see maybe 1 or 2 more playmakers in this class. That's me being really picky about it.
I like it.
Number 7 in the country. You can't argue with that, man.
No, I mean, field your needs, right? But just didn't put it over the top.
Sure.
Yeah. You were 1 or 2 signees away from a top 5 and 1 or 2 signees away from putting it over the top.
You got it.
Right.
All right, we're going to get some questions from the corner man. Before we do, want to bring on back, I was hungry tonight, didn't know what I was going to cook. Turn to my big dog, HelloFresh. Everybody knows HelloFresh. If you don't know HelloFresh, you should. What is HelloFresh? You get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy. I certainly do. Fun and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Save valuable time during the busy holiday season with fewer trips to the store, man, thanks to HelloFresh. There's over 100 add-on items you can add to your weekly box, like quick breakfast, packable snacks, beverages, and more. And if you're traveling for the holidays or just too busy to cook at home, you can easily skip a week's delivery if you need to. That'd be great. Hey, I'm not going to be at home. Skip that. No commitment. There really are commitments. There really are no commitments. I always talk about some of my favorite dishes, man. One pot chicken sausage and bean soup, fantastic. Black bean soup's really good. The kids love that. And HelloFresh got a deal going on right now. Get 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/Auburn, free Auburn Live. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free Auburn Live. All lowercase, all word, free Auburn Live. Appreciate HelloFresh sponsoring the show and being loyal to us throughout the season, man. Really like it, HelloFresh. All right, fellas, let's get straight to what the folks want to know. Auburn Live on 3, the corner, the message board. This is what these guys want to know. And ladies, let's don't forget, got a big influx of the females, whatever. I don't know. Chatfield, let me just go. Chatfield 1, 2, 3, 4. After missing out on Usmani Chroma and Naeem Offord, does Auburn turn their NIL efforts to help secure Justice Terry, the 5-star defensive tackle, who's announcing today?
Yes. There you go.
Or did they use that money for extra pieces in the portal? NIL efforts. I mean, I guess he's asking. Auburn didn't spend any money on Naeem Offord. They had a lot earmarked for him. They didn't spend any money on Usmani Chroma. They had money earmarked for him. Are they going to take that money to help secure Justice Terry, or do they use that money for the portal? Do you think it's Alan? You're an OTV guy, NIL guy. Do you think there's earmarked like we've got let's just $5 more than we thought we were going to have because we were going to spend $3 on this guy and $2 on this guy. We didn't get them, so we've got this $5. And what are we going to do with it? I don't think it works like that.
No, I think what they do is they make an evaluation of what a kid's worth to them.
Yes,
right.
Individual basis, absolutely.
Now, do they negotiate? Sure. But I don't think they turn around and say, okay, we didn't spend X dollar on Usmani Chroma, and we're going to take every bit of that and we're going to put it on to Justice Terry, right? You're creating an inflated market if you do that. I think you have to stay true to your board and true to your evaluation, offer a fair deal for what you think it to be. And if it doesn't work in your favor, then you have to be confident enough in yourself and in your evaluations to be able to go into the portal and augment those needs that you have. Now, I will say this. It is significantly cheaper. Now, you got to be patient, but it's significantly cheaper to go and get those really good pieces of clay from the high school ranks and to retain them than it is to go into the transfer portal and try to pull one of those. I mean, it's expensive, man. Portal prices are expensive. And I know you guys are going to get full detail on a lot of that when you start to interview guys and kind of start to hear some feedback. But it is cheaper to do that, but I don't think Auburn does that. I think they have a very NFL mentality to that, where you kind of align your dollar amount per position group and how you're going to fill out your entire roster. And I don't think they budge much off of that.
Well, I think the bottom line is with guys like Justice Terry and Naeem Offord, NIL is not going to be the reason they lose, right?
No.
Sure, right. No, Justice Terry, it's not going to take. Yeah. It's not going to take what they were going to give him, plus Usmani Chroma, plus Naeem Offord money. And just imagine the culture that you're creating if you're doing that.
In the locker room, right? Internally on your own team. That is something you still have to be accountable for. And don't think that some of these upperclassmen don't find out or know what other kids are getting paid. That's the difficult part of this era, right? Like in the NFL, you got a salary cap, you got structure, you got rookie deals. There's a whole system in play that rewards veteran players. And again, this is a free market society. You do what you choose to do, but you still have to create a culture within the locker room and accountability. And it can upset the apple cart, man, if somebody feels like they're being slighted.
By the
Emma
way,
War Eagle. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go.
I'm sorry. I want to give a shout out to our guy WDE 1999 when he posted that intel on Chroma a few weeks ago. It lined up with exactly what I was hearing. So he did a good job on that intel. The consensus was that he might not end up at Georgia, right? Well, that's not. He didn't end up at Georgia. He ends up at Florida State. He didn't go to Auburn, but it was
Gus coming in.
Yeah, Gus. I mean, look.
You remember that? What night was that? Was that Monday night? And I was like, hey, y'all might have heard that before I did, but I was like, hey, man, Gus is coming in late, and he's preaching that I'm going to make you this insert X. I mean, look at Gus's track record with running backs, and I told y'all this. If I'm a running back, damn right, I'm taking a hard look at Gus Malzahn.
Oh, sure. No, that was you in the chat, and I had not heard that. I had not heard that they were making a big push. You dropped that in our group chat, and then I probably looked the next morning and saw where Chad Simmons had it. Okay, FSU surging, Auburn's hanging around.
Yeah.
And I thought, I think Auburn and Florida State both sensed exactly what our guy put up on the board, exactly what I was hearing, that he may not end up at Georgia. There was something there that was going to keep him away from Georgia, and that's what happened. Yeah. So I thought that was good. Good for him.
Let's see. Emma War Eagle. Who in this new class has the chance to have the biggest impact as a freshman next season? Pick one player for offense and one for defense. I like this question, Emma. And I will go ahead and preface this by saying Emma is on my hibachi list this week. We had all the queens. We listed all the queens last week. Emma, I apologize, Emma. She sounds more like a princess. Emma's more of a Gen Z name.
I like it.
All right. So, Princess, who in this? And I was talking about this today. Do you think there's an opportunity? Do you think the opportunity for this class is as big as it was for the 2024 class?
No.
I don't either. I don't either.
I just don't. But if you're talking defense, give me Anquan Fegans because I do think safety was one spot where you could use an immediate playmaker.
That's
I
my pick.
think he's the guy. I mean, you could also go Jordan Crawford. I think those are the two on defense that are going to make immediate impacts.
That's exactly what I said today. Thursday.
Offense.
I'm basing off Crawford off of Cole. If Cole's that high on a kid, and hell, Freeze was too in his press conference.
Listen, I've been wrong plenty of times, Jeffrey, but I have a feeling that he's going to.
And yet, I still trust you.
Yet you still trust me. But I mean, listen, you watch that guy, dude. He's tough.
Well, also think about, and I'm sure they're going to go in the transfer portal, right? But you need a nose guard, somebody that can. I mean, you got Bobby Travis, but who behind him has shown you anything to make you think that they would play over that kid?
You lost. I mean, you lost him.
Yeah.
Jason Jones, Terrell Carter was starting to play a little bit, and Isaiah Rakes gone.
Yeah, all gone.
It's open.
So it's wide open, right?
Yeah.
Most of which were rental guys, 1 year rentals.
And I think that's probably what they'll do again this time, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I as much as I hate it, I completely understand it, and it's absolutely necessary.
It is.
Yeah. And I thought Rakes was a nice little piece. If you can get another one like that, I think the centerpiece, the one you build around, is Jordan Crawford. You've got it
for
now.
sure. Yeah.
Who's your offense?
Duke Smith. I think he's a playmaker. He's what Cole talked about. There's just so much raw athleticism there. I think they'll figure out a way to get him involved, very similar to Malcolm Simmons.
Okay, I like that. I can see that.
She was asking earliest contributor, right? Like who plays?
Yeah,
big impact as a freshman.
For some reason,
or an impact.
I just feel like Sam Turner's going to have a role.
Okay.
Now he's being slept on a little bit, but he's just he just understands the game, and it doesn't. You don't have to be the most talented guy to play early. You need to know what's going on. You need to do things right. You need to block as a receiver. You got to do those things, and I feel like he'll fit that role perfect.
On offense,
he'll love it too.
On offense, typically your true freshmen are your easier positions to play as a true freshman. Farther away from the ball, Allen says this all the time, the easier it is to play as a true freshman. And Auburn has those true freshman wide receivers from the 2024 class, which would make it even more difficult for these 2025 freshmen to make an impact as big as these guys have. So it's really tough, Emma, that for these guys coming in, because there's so many guys 1 year ahead of them already entrenched in on that depth chart. So it'll be more, and that's what you want. You want a roster where it's talented enough where the true freshmen don't have any business playing.
Correct.
So this class, you want the true freshmen to taper down.
You do.
So by 2026, they're in the two deep if they're lucky.
And you know who else I could make an argument for on defense? Elijah Melendez. I mean, I think you've got a guy that can play early at all three levels of the defense in this class, and that's what I love so much. I mean, I just felt like DJ Durkin and that staff knocked it out from an eval standpoint of getting guys high floor, also high ceiling guys.
I agree.
About,
Auburn,
Donovan Starr.
Going to have to play, right?
I was going to say the corner might be necessary.
By the way, I was also thinking Alvin Henderson on offense, depending on what they do.
He came across my mind,
and
because out of necessity.
Yeah, well,
it was interesting. Hugh Freeze,
I know.
He said this was his words on Brody Scholl. He'll be pushing for playing time. Is what he said about Brody Scholl. I found that,
but he was high on Alvin. He was higher on Alvin than I thought. He praised Alvin more than I was expecting.
Oh, I think he was a big reason why Alvin flipped, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I think he's a guy that he was a Freeze guy, right? Like he's somebody that he put a lot of time into. And Cole, to your point, and then we need to get to the next question, but you don't have a defined number one running back. I mean, I know it's Damari's time and Jeremiah's been there and he knows the offense, but neither of those two have separated themselves in a way to make you think, okay,
Right.
he's automatically the guy.
Well, here we are going, which one would it be? I don't know yet. And
Right.
there's no clear define. All right, AU engineer, ENG Inger. Realistically, how long until Deuce Knight or Walker White can be the starter? Realistically,
At least a year.
Yeah.
2 to 3 years.
I think you have to bridge that gap one more time.
2026 at the earliest.
Yeah. Yeah.
The starter.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Get a bridge guy this 2025 season, and then turn it loose on the 2026 season for these guys.
Yep.
Let's see. Peter B. Hanging. Hey!
That is easily my favorite new name on the board.
I read that before I looked at it. Is Donovan Starr somebody you can see taking over the third corner spot? We just talked about this by the end of the season next year. That third corner spot. I mean, are we talking like third corner on the field? So he's the first 2 deep guy. He's the first backup at the corner spot. Or is he talking nickel?
We've got some. Yeah. Go ahead, Cole.
I think he's talking like, third guy, not necessarily nickel. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they're going to go to the portal for that position. I really do.
Yeah.
But
and you got some guys that are returning from injury too, and you don't know what they're going to look like.
Very true.
That position is going to be very interesting when it gets rolling. Like, I just don't know how it's going to play out at all yet. But as fast as Starr is, man, they're going to find a way to get him in there.
I tend to believe you're right. I think Blake's going to redshirt more than likely because he needs to add that size. I love his football IQ, though. Love Blake Woodby's football IQ. He just knows how to play, but I think he needs to add some weight.
Yeah.
To be able to match up against SEC receivers and press man and be able to be physical enough on the outside.
Scales 10-24 for each position, offense and defense. How many Porter players will we go after? We'll start at quarterback. We'll just throw numbers out, fellas.
10 to 12. Two. I'm going to go two.
Two quarterbacks?
Yeah, I'd say two. 1 to 2, but I lean 2.
Yep.
Running back?
1.
Tight end?
2.
1 to 2.
Wide receiver?
2.
1 to 2.
Offensive line?
2 to 3.
Offensive tackle. How about this? Offensive tackle.
1 to 2.
Guard.
Yeah.
1 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Defensive line interior.
2.
Cole.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 to 2. I'm thinking 1, but 2 I would not.
Edge Buck.
1.
1 for sure.
Linebacker.
1.
1 to 2. Yeah. 1
Safety?
probably.
1. 1 safety, 1 corner.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go that route for right
now.
I
honestly think they'll get at least one guy at each position.
I agree.
Except center.
How much of a change? I mean, how many? They got 5 D linemen last year out of the portal.
Jeez,
5.
That's a
they were
deep.
They were exhausting numbers to get some of these positions where they have to be, rather than going across the board and going, let's get one here, let's get one here, let's get it bolstered up in that room. Just one guy, need a veteran. They haven't been able to do that until. I mean, I'm telling you, there are things that this staff you can absolutely say they're not doing well. Okay,
sure.
Building a roster is not one of them. They're doing a great job with it, man.
That's right.
They are. The only reason I say 2 is because of you replaced most of the guys that you lost to graduation, you replaced in the high school class. But you've just had some attrition. Cole, you just put it up, I guess we're going to say last night, since we're on today's podcast, about TJ Lindsey leaving the team. I think there's the possibility that a guy like Deron Reed decides to enter the transfer portal. I'm not saying that he is, but I think there's the potential that he would consider it at this point. And if you have 2 losses that you weren't necessarily anticipating, you got to replace those numbers.
Yeah. Good question, though. I'm sure that we're going to be talking about the transfer portal a lot here over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Before we get to question 6, everybody knows me rocking that Roback, that Q-zip.
Mm.
Let's see, I'll show you that. Put my mic down so you can see it, but damn it, I can't get around this thing. I don't know what the hell to do.
Man, I
with
should have worn my little Albie shirt tonight.
that. Way to go, Cole. If you're not familiar with Roback, there is only one way to describe Roback: best fit, best feel. One way. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback just released their new licensed game day collection, and it's freaking awesome with novel polo designs and clean hoodie and Q-zip designs for some of your favorite schools like Auburn. It's definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing these level of custom designs with this quality of activewear. They've got the shorts too. Everyday shorts are the perfect pairing. They are so comfortable, have an elastic waistband and great fabric that is made to have the appearance of a nice short with the comfort of an athletic short. Roback has also been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with some college folks like Quinn Ewers, Caleb Downs, among others. They're becoming the go-to brand for college athletes. Got a special still going on, folks. Use the promo code Auburn20, that's Auburn20, on Roback.com for a generous 20% off all new customers through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with the code Auburn20. Appreciate Roback sponsoring the show. All right, let's get to question 6. And it is coming from Mr. Nike AU, who will be more relevant in about 6 months. What would be a perfect offseason to fix our offensive line and put them top half of the SEC? What's it going to take to get them out of the slums?
I think
what's the perfect offseason?
Number one, and I think Cole would agree on this, you got to get Jeremiah Wright and Dylan Wade to come back. I think if you
I think that's big, man. I do. I like both of those. Jeremiah Wright started.
I think it's
playing.
A very good possibility too.
I do too.
I do too. Jeremiah Wright really came on pretty strong towards the end of the year. I thought he got much better.
And I put this much on the on the corner today that if Dylan Wade comes back, I think he's your starting right tackle, and Jeremiah Wright would be your right guard. And so from center to the right-hand side, you would be set, right? Now, you return Braden Joyner at left guard, but I think they would want to bring in competition at that position. I don't think they're content to let that just be a Braden Joyner versus DeAndre Carter battle. I don't think they're content with that at all. So you bring in somebody there and then a left tackle.
I agree. You do have some prospects in the room too.
You do.
I love DeAndre Carter's upside. I mean, he could easily be your guy at guard. I love Favor Edwin's upside. I don't talk about him much, but he's a work in progress. He's learning the game and all that, but I think he could be a really good left tackle for you one day. He's built for it, that's for sure. The prospects, again, you're having to bridge the gap a little bit to get it to where it needs to be. This is the room, in my opinion, like we were saying, you had to get 5 D linemen, whereas everywhere else you're pretty much going 1, 1, 1, 1, or maybe 2. This is the room you got to go heavy again. You just have to. You got to get it right this time.
Yeah.
And on the projects, TJ Johnson, I'm not out on him yet. I still think he's a good project. I just think he's probably best suited to be a number 2 next year and not your number 1 at the left tackle position. I think he needs another year of maturation and to be pushed in a competition, but not necessarily be leaned on to be the guy.
I like it. NB Weagle, in your opinion, how important is it for Auburn to land a playmaking tight end and playmaking linebacker in the portal? How important tight end, linebacker, playmaking guys? We saw Auburn has already set up an official visit with I wrote the story.
The kid from Fresno State. Yeah.
Phoenix Jackson.
That's what I said. Who is my kind of player, man, former walk-on and really come into his own, had the 3rd highest coverage grade of linebackers in the country this past year, more than 100 tackles over his career at Fresno State. He's coming in to Auburn December 13th and the 14th. He's also got visits scheduled at Georgia Tech, and I think, Cole, you think he might have canceled that visit.
I think so, yeah. I think he canceled that one and maybe added one, but I can't remember who it was right now.
So importance of getting those 2 positions in.
Big.
Yeah. I found it interesting, though. Hugh Freeze said when he was naming linebackers, when he was naming Caleb Falk. He's naming Bryce Diaz. He's naming Elijah Melendez. He goes, now those guys are going to have to play.
Yeah.
You heard him say that, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. That's interesting to me because did they really have a heavy rotation at linebacker this year? I mean, they kind of did. Yeah, they had Woodyard in there a lot too.
He kind of disappeared after the first of the season for me.
He did a little bit.
But I think that was more because
was that the emergence of DeMarcus Riddick?
Well, I think part of it was the emergence of DeMarcus, but they're different positions. I felt
I was going to say, did their scheme change? Did they start playing the athletic quarterbacks where DeMarcus saw more action in the scheme, and the game plan didn't include Robert Woodyard, who probably not athletic and as fast as he is?
So I think really, in my opinion, what happened is Dorian Mausi and Austin Keys kind of elevated their play. And he was more of a Mike backer in this defense.
Okay.
And so with those guys not getting hurt or injured, you know what I mean, it was just tough to crack rotating more than two guys there. Then you had Eugene Asante at the wheel/money position, and that's the same spot that DeMarcus Riddick was playing. So that was kind of your 4 linebacker rotation of guys that you were rolling through there. And so there just wasn't a lot for him. I think he'll solidly move into the 2 deep next year. And I know we're saying 1 right now at linebacker. It's definitely 1 to 2 for me. I think you could bring in another guy to compete, but that depends on maybe you wait until spring. Here you bring a second one in there because you want to see what you get from Elijah Melendez. You want to see what you get from DJ Barber. And if those guys can give you something, maybe you don't have to get that second guy as far as it goes from linebacker in the portal.
I will say I did a thread on Phoenix Jackson and just broke down play by play something we do on the corner there, and a lot of Eugene Asante I see there.
Okay,
he reminds me of that kind of same style, right? So I think this is your dime backer. This is who you're looking at for that, because that is what
built Eugene the same Asante too.
Yeah, pretty much
6 feet tall, 220.
Yeah. He's very springy. He's got a lot of burst. Not great in the box,
sure,
but gets around really quick. I mean, the game I was watching, it was against John Mateer, who everybody loves to talk about right now.
Sure,
sacked him twice in 2 plays in a row, and that was the only guy Mateer could not shake free from because he's so quick. So I always love seeing who are the guys they're targeting. What are they looking for exactly?
And probably somebody you can play in good combination with DeMarcus Riddick and somebody that'll be a mentor for him.
Yes.
So you can continue that grooming process.
I thought that dime backer position was interesting. I saw they named it that in the spring, maybe when first the depth chart, or maybe it was fall camp when the depth chart came out. It said dime backer. I was going, that's interesting.
Yeah,
you don't see that a lot, and I wondered what it would entail, and lots of blitzing, lots of coverage.
Yes.
So this guy's a good coverage linebacker, so he will be interesting to track.
War Eagle Weasel. What does the 2026 quarterback recruiting board look like right now? Do you think Freeze will make getting a quarterback in the boat early more of a priority this season? Zach, I don't know if you're handy, but I've got I'm sharing the offer. There you go. Because at this point, well, I will say this. Some of the biggest news coming out this week after signing day for the 2026 class was Auburn extending an offer to Jackson, Alabama quarterback, former South Carolina commitment, Landon Duckworth. He is a dual threat guy, very, very accomplished. I think he is leading Jackson to a state championship, at least to the game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
A lot of people high on him, so I definitely would put him on that tier 1, Wiggle the Weasel. Some other guys that we've seen offered, not a lot of movement with these guys, though. We looked through this. Was Jared Curtis. Luke Fahey visited Auburn. You can see Auburn there. DJ Bordeaux visited Auburn. He's from Douglas County, from Douglasville. Cole, didn't you know something on him?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps visiting. Auburn's interested in him. Is it a deal where they're ready to take his commitment? I'm not sure. I question that just a little bit, but they definitely are recruiting him. There's no doubt about it.
Duckworth just makes so much sense with the way you've layered that room, doesn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder. I think the last time I watched him, it's kind of like it makes sense that he was committed to South Carolina. Reminds me a little bit of Lenore Sellers, not as big as him, but that's the style you're looking at here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, God, man, if you could get a Lenore Sellers on this team right about now, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
No doubt. That guy's really good.
War Eagle 07, what's the backstory on what happened with Offord last minute, getting up and leaving the table and everything? I don't know about that. I don't, at first I thought they were stalling for him. He had gotten up from the table, but looking back on it, hindsight, that it was just going to be a long ceremony.
I will give you full picture on this one now.
All right.
And typically I would save this for the VIP show, but let's just go ahead and put it out there.
Hit me with it, big dog.
So about 2 days out from signing day, I got some information that Oregon was a major player. And I remember sharing it with you guys, and Cole said you had heard something 2 weeks back. And we kind of went back and forth. And the consensus was like, okay, this is one person that's saying this. And you got the national media and everybody else at Auburn telling us they feel comfortable. So we kind of discredited it to a degree. And then in the morning time, I got a text from him at around 9 o'clock that said, he's gone, man. That deal is set. And unless something majorly changes in the waning minutes, that it's all Oregon. So I don't think that if Offord did get up from the table, that it changed anything. I think that deal was set probably about a week ago or so.
Yeah, I don't think him getting up from the table had anything to do with it. Look at the video he released.
Right. And
I think it may have happened the day before or sometime overnight.
Yep.
What I heard, I guess it was about a week and a half before signing day.
Yep.
And I wrote it. I wrote it in something. I'd have to go back and find it, but talked to a source who felt sure Oregon took the lead in this recruitment.
Right.
But Auburn changed that at the Texas A&M game.
Do y'all think Auburn finished 2?
I honestly don't know.
I don't know either, but
yeah, I don't either.
I think that Auburn had the lead at one point. I can say that pretty confidently.
Okay, are you talking about after the A&M game?
After the A&M game, there was a big shift in confidence, I thought, upward. And there's already confidence. But I'd heard around that time, Oregon was in the lead, but it changed hands, if that makes sense.
It does.
It obviously changed hands again. I mean, listen, 2 weeks before signing day is an eternity.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. And if we get a question on Justice Terry, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Yeah. That my intel was red hot on him for a little bit, and that has since faded, and I have zero confidence in that right now. Now, who knows? At the end of the day, I could be wrong, right? But I trend towards what Jeffrey has been saying. Expect Georgia. Be excited if he does anything else.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, let's see. JMK205 taking us home tonight. Today, what's the latest on the 2026 Harris twins? That's a great question. Still looking good and committing soon. I'll give you the latest. They and speaking of Auburn Life Plus, this is good stuff here. They were, whenever I put that RPM in for both of those guys to commit to Auburn, they had given Auburn implied at least that they were going to be committing and it was going to happen. I think this was 2 weeks after their visit. Remember when they left and they're like, we're going to get this done before Wednesday. And it never happened. Well, that following week, it was like, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to do it tomorrow. All right, cool, man. And then it was, I think we're going to wait a little bit. And I was like, that's never good.
Nope.
So my confidence in those RPMs is extremely low right now. I'm not saying Auburn doesn't end up with those two kids, but I do not see that happening. At least I'm not expecting it anytime soon. And something happens. I don't know if it's family or what, but somebody gets to these kids, and maybe it's the kids. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves here. When you go from I'm about to commit to Auburn in the next 2 days to I think I'm going to wait and I'm going. It makes you think, and typically that doesn't work out.
No, well, I think sometimes momentum's a funny thing, right? And you get caught up in it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of start to sit back and look and, okay, I'm still a junior right now. Do I want to go on a few more visits? Do I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing? I mean, I appreciate kids that don't rush it. I really do, because then it means the commitment's going to hold up significantly better. Most of the time, if these kids are thorough, they do their due diligence, they go on their official visits, they are much less likely to flip on the back end. It still happens. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you had some absolute head turner type situations on National Signing Day where kids were 100%. I thought they were going one place, ended up someplace else. So
after that signing day, man, I mean, it's always wild. There were so many flips.
Oh my gosh!
It almost like you almost have to start asking these guys like when they
Dude,
commit.
how about
like,
Tyler Lockhart?
yeah, dude. Talking about snip, snap, snip.
Great day in the morning. Well, he commits to Auburn, flips to Mississippi State, flips to Ole Miss, and flips back to Mississippi State.
Yep. And didn't Ole Miss release it as him signing?
Yes. Yeah, there's going to have to be something happen to them. I mean, it'll be a slap on the wrist, but still, that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
Somebody dropped the ball on that. Somebody at Ole Miss SID dropped the ball on that.
Big time. Unless he signed with both schools at the same time, which I just.
So our Ole Miss guy says he sends in the papers to Ole Miss, but his mom didn't sign it. He's only 17 years old. So it was invalid, and they released it anyways.
Okay.
Mom wouldn't sign it. Mama wanted him to go with brother.
Which
State.
Was our intel from the very beginning, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it was.
That's right. So that was fun, but anticlimactic signing day. We still had a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody watching that show. We're going to dish out some how about yous real quick, and then we'll get out of here. How about yous? Anybody? I mean, I've got 4. I have 4. I'll start it off.
4.
Oh, you?
Go ahead.
Okay, Cole. Go ahead. Knock it out, big dog.
All right. Rice DP, baby.
Look at Rice.
Well, he's, I don't care what people say about him. I love him. And a lot of people love him too. They just won't admit it.
I hate to love him, or I love to hate him. Something, I don't know.
It's something in that vein, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan
toward him.
I do like I like Rice a good bit.
I do. I'm a big fan.
I will say this. I'm glad he posts on our board. He keeps it. Yeah.
He's the believer.
He had a funny comment today. He said it was in a quarterback thread where everybody's discussing portal quarterbacks. That's kind of the thing right now. He said if Grayson McCall wasn't Billy Madison 2.0, it just killed me.
Oh gosh. Grayson McCall.
Anyway,
the savior for Auburn football that never was.
Bro, I mean, look, if he could have read back in the day, he'd be at Auburn right now. But unfortunately.
So the Billy Madison comment was on par.
100%. It holds. It tracks, as Cole would say.
It tracks. Pretty good. Wardam 7342.
Wardam 74. What did you say? 70 what?
7342. His gift game is strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
He used the Peter Dante. I don't know if y'all know who Peter Dante is, and he goes, "Prove it," from the movie Big Daddy. So yeah, pretty good. Danny Pitts for his little quick note on Justice Terry on Wednesday. Thought it was pretty good.
All right.
Neighbor, he said he had a neighbor who his son signed with Georgia, had some intel on Justice Terry. They think he's going to be a Bulldog on Friday.
All right.
I thought that was good stuff. And then my man AU Sarge Wolf 559. Good buddy of mine.
AU Sarge Wolf, all one word?
Yep, all one word. It's no E on Sarge. It's AUSARG Wolf 559. That's a good buddy of mine. Known him for a long time. Okay.
Mr. Allen, Sir Allen.
Yeah, we're gonna go D Newt. So that's DNEWT 123.
Okay.
Put a post up recently about Justice Haynes potentially hitting the portal. I think you're right. And then he's also you shot me a couple of DMs, brother. I promise you I'll get you an answer back on some of that. I've just been swamped. And then let's go with NB Weagle. And I'm going to go AU no way. I'm going to give you some love, man, because I felt like you got a little bit attacked the other day. People lashed out a little bit.
Yeah.
There was some, some angst and some hand wringing going on. So I felt bad for you, brother. So I wanted to show you a little love today.
All right. How about you? I got you for Vulcan Tiger. How about you, big dog? How about you to Decone 24?
That's one of my faves, dude.
How about you to AU Proud 34? And how about you to the Princess, presumably Miss Emma War Eagle?
Like it.
Uh-huh. Fantastic group. I wouldn't say it was a great week for the corner, but
A little rough this week.
there were some bright spots.
Yeah, there were some bright spots.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, that's going to do it, folks. One more time, don't forget, go to HelloFresh, man. You're talking about some 10 free meals at HelloFresh.com/free Auburn Live. Applied across 7 boxes. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's 10 free HelloFresh meals. Woo! Just go to HelloFresh.com/free Auburn Live. And also, Roback, use that promo code Auburn20 on Roback.com for generous 20% off all new customers through the end of this week. That's RHOBACK.com. 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with the promo code Auburn20. All right, folks, that's going to do it, man. We love it. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. For Cole, for Zach in the back who stayed in the back, for Alan Head, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay at that left lane. See ya.